All right, let's get right into it. What if the best fix for your buzzing 21st century brain wasn't some new app, but a philosophy from 1700 years ago, straight out of the Egyptian desert? Sounds kind of crazy, right? But that's what we're digging into today. An ancient guide for a problem that feels so incredibly modern, those intrusive thoughts.
I mean, you know this feeling, right? It's like you're playing whack-a-mole inside your own head. These weird or dark or just plain anxious thought loops, they just keep popping up. It's like there's this pirate radio station broadcasting in your mind, and you just cannot find the off switch. And frankly, you're just wiped out. The noise is exhausting.
And look, you've probably tried all the usual stuff. You've Googled it. You've watched the videos. Maybe you've even given cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, a shot. And for good reason. It's a fantastic, evidence-based method. Identify the thought, challenge it, reframe it. And let's be super clear. CBT is a lifesaver for millions of people. It works. It's reliable. It's functional. It gets the job done.
But what if there's a totally different angle? You see, CBT can sometimes feel like it's treating your mind like buggy software that just needs a patch. It can feel a little clinical. The ancient approach we're about to explore, that's way more like hacking the human psyche itself, trying to understand its core operating system. It's about going deeper, much deeper.
So to meet these original hackers of the mind, we need to hop in a time machine. We're going way, way back, all the way to the 4th century, to meet this group of, let's call them eccentric rebels. History knows them as the Desert Fathers. Okay, so picture this. It's around 350 AD. The Roman Empire is starting to fall apart. And these men and women, they just start trekking out into the Egyptian desert. But here's the thing. They weren't just running away from society. No, they were running towards something. They were basically conducting this massive experiment. They used the incredible, deafening silence of the desert as a laboratory for the mind. Because think about it. When you strip away every single external distraction, what's the loudest thing left? Yeah, it's your own head. These folks were, in a very real way, the world's first neuroscientists of the soul.
And get this, one of the absolute geniuses of this whole movement was a guy named Evagrius Ponticus. This wasn't some simple hermit. He was a high society intellectual, a real big shot in his day. But after, let's just say, a personal scandal, he flees to a tiny cell in the desert. And it's there that he dedicates the rest of his life to basically cataloging all the bugs in the human software.
And this right here is where we hit the core idea. The one that changes absolutely everything. See, Evagrius didn't use a term like intrusive thoughts. He had a different word. He called them logismoi. And that one single word, it unlocks a completely different way of seeing what's going on in our heads.
Logismoi. This is so important. He didn't see these thoughts as something coming from you. He saw them as predatory suggestions, things that happen to you. You see the difference? The thought isn't you, it's an external event, no different than a car driving by or the rain starting to fall. Just that one simple shift in perspective, it is an absolute game changer. And there's this great analogy that makes it crystal clear. Think of a logismos as a really sketchy salesman walking up your driveway. Now, him just showing up, that's not on you. It's not your fault. He's just there. The real problem starts with step 2, when you open the door, invite him in, maybe offer him a drink, and then hand over your credit card. That's the moment the Desert Fathers called consent. So, you see, the thought itself isn't the issue. The problem isn't the salesman showing up. It's the choice you make to sit down and do business with him.
Okay, so if these thoughts are basically just uninvited dinner guests, how are you supposed to deal with them without, making a huge scene? Well, the Desert Fathers didn't just define the problem, they developed a really practical toolkit. And what's wild is how useful it still is today. All right, tool number 1 is called nepsis. It basically means watchfulness. Now, our natural instinct is to fight these thoughts, right? We clench our fists, we grit our teeth, we're like, no, I am not going to think about this. But these guys in the desert, the Abaz, they knew better. They figured out that when you fight a thought, you're actually feeding it. You're giving it energy. Nepsis is the complete opposite of that. It's the practice of just observing the thought. No wrestling match required. And I absolutely love the metaphor they used for this. They said to treat your thoughts like clouds passing over a mountain. The mountain, that's your core self, your soul, it just stays put. It's solid, it's still. And the clouds, those are the thoughts, the moods, the anxieties. They just drift on by. They're not the mountain. You are the mountain. So let's make this super practical. Instead of that internal screaming match, I will not think about this, the practice of nepsis is much calmer. It's more like, interesting, the thought of greed is showing up right now. Noted. That's it. You acknowledge it, you see it for what it is, and then you let it pass on by without inviting it in for dinner. But what about those really sticky thoughts, the ones that just don't want to leave? Well, they had a tool for that too. It's called antiheresis, which translates to talking back or contradiction. But hold on, this is not what you think. It's not about getting into some logical debate with your anxiety. It's something else entirely. Let's use a classic example, a real heavy hitter. You are never, ever going to be good enough. Oof, we've all heard a version of that one, haven't we? Now, a modern approach might tell you to fight back with facts, to list all the reasons why you are good enough, to argue with it.
But the Desert Fathers did something so much smarter. Their response wasn't a positive affirmation. In fact, they completely refused to argue on the thought's terms. Instead of fighting it directly, they would state a much bigger, more objective truth that just sidesteps the whole argument. They might say something like, you know what, maybe I'm not good enough, but God is enough. See what that does? It completely reframes the battle. It grounds you in something much, much bigger than your own temporary feelings.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What does all this ancient wisdom actually mean for you and me, right here, right now? Well, it completely changes the goalposts for our mental well-being.
Listen, the goal is not to have a perfectly quiet, empty, silent mind. That's a total myth, and trying to achieve it is just going to make you frustrated. The real goal, the one the Desert Fathers were chasing, is a resilient mind. A mind that can handle the weather, whatever it is, just like that mountain.
So let's boil this all down to a simple 3-step desert method you can actually use. Step 1, acknowledge. Just notice the thought. Oh, hey, there's that anxiety salesman at the door again. Step 2, externalize. Remind yourself this is a logismos. It's an uninvited guest. It is not you. And step 3, and this is the big one, don't argue. You don't have to fight it or prove it wrong. You just have to let it be there while you keep doing whatever you were doing. And when you start doing this, it completely flips the script. Having a noisy brain doesn't mean you're broken. Not at all. In this way of thinking, every single intrusive thought, every logosmos, isn't a sign of failure. It's an opportunity. It's a rep. It's a chance to practice watchfulness, to build that resilience, and to remember that crucial truth. You are not your thoughts. In the end, what the Desert Fathers really show us is that the desert wasn't a place of emptiness. It was a place of profound clarity. And the best part? You don't have to move to Egypt to find that clarity. You just have to change your relationship with that pirate radio station in your head. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find that all that noise isn't a bug, but a feature of a mind that's finally learning how to be free.